for the whole of last season. Other names to bring to you: Nora Jiruto from Kazakhstan, born in Kenya. She's the 5th fastest in history. And also Sembo Almeyu as well, the young Ethiopian, the world junior champion over the steeplechase. Look out for her. So lots of quality. Val Constein as well is worth a mention for the USA, the American #1. Final track action then, final action of the evening here in Doha, the women's 3,000-metre steeplechase. Away we go. Well, the target is the meeting record just outside 9 minutes, set in 2017 by Haivong Kaeng. But again, we saw in the men's 5,000 metres, it depends on whether they fancy it and whether they want just to build the race lap by lap and leave something in the tank for the final kilometre. CHEROTICH, who so often does some of the heavy lifting along with CHEROTICH. YAVI just likes to stay out of trouble. She's got this devastating kick. There is Almeyu, I mentioned her, the world junior champion, a very exciting talent as well.
Yeah, I think we should just mention, you mentioned her name, Val Constein, at the back, and she started off pretty slowly. She had a horrible injury here a couple of years ago, tore her ACL in her knee, and I'm sure memories of that. It's great to see her back. She didn't race again for almost another year, and then, as you rightly say, then ran brilliantly, got the Olympic team and went to the Olympic Games as America's #1. She's started slowly, is at the back, just being tailed off a little bit. So the early pace, they've gone with it, which is good. So yeah, as long as one of the big group go, then everyone else goes, and that's what we've got.
Well, in Rome last year, if you were with us, you may remember we had a thrilling race. Eventually won by YAVI, but it was CHEROTICH, the former Olympic champion, who just led the race the whole way round. And in the end was just picked off by YAVI, who just has this devastating turn of speed. But yep, so far so good. Looking to reach the first kilometre in just under 3 minutes. 2:58 is the target time, but they are strung out. And at the moment, it's Almeyu just trying to keep her number on her leg, but is doing well to do that. CHEROTICH and CHEROTICH as well, with YAVI just a little bit further back.
Well, they all know each other so well, and when there's pace on like this, then you've got to really just back your training and try and work out, where am I at? Am I ready for this? Am I ready to go with this pace? Because you know that the people you're up against, even though Almeyu, who I've really enjoyed watching develop over the last couple of years, is kind of elevating into that big group. As we see our winner in the javelin. Will lead, amongst other things. Exclusive club, that. And as I said, moved himself into world all-time top 20. So yeah, just to pick up that point about, they kind of know each other so well, this group. They race each other all the time. When you're in an event like the steeplechase, you just tend to run a lot of steeplechases. So they get to know each other incredibly well. But you do have to back yourself when it's a race like this, where the pace is on 3:1 through first kilometre. Yeah,
just outside the required pace, but good to see all the big names in there, although Winfred YAVI is just a little way off the back there. You can see her just behind Almeyu, CHEROTICH and CHEROTICH. Yes, Constein, it'll be a difficult race for her emotionally as much as anything else, coming back, as you rightly say, where she had that horrific injury. She's been in and around the hotel the last couple of days, looking pretty relaxed, but it must bring back all sorts of emotions to be back on this track. Almeyu then taking it on. Pacemaker just starting to fade away. So Almeyu, the youngster from CHEROTICH, and then CHEROTICH. These three. YAVI incidentally went through in Rome. I mentioned that race in Rome in 2:54, and we knew we were on for something super special. And she only missed the world record, which, by the way, has stood since 2018. Beatrice Coach, I think you and I were in Monaco that night. It feels a long time ago now. Only missed it by 700ths of a second. She was very close. I don't sense this is on this evening.
No, I mean, it looks like it might slow a little bit here from as I said, the pace it was asked, but yeah, it was a couple of years ago, I think, Almeyu, when she was beaten by YAVI here. It was a big breakthrough race, if you like, and it's big junior coming into these ranks, and runs with a lot more confidence now because of that. And she ran her first 5K, I think, in the Diamond League a couple of weeks ago, which was good. You know, it wasn't anything special, but it was good, and set herself up nicely in terms of coming into this first big steeplechase of the season. So she's just tucked in second place there. Yavi's just let the others do the work, sitting off it a little bit.
Giruto also in this group. She was world champion back in Eugene 3 years ago. Fifth fastest in history. So we've got some pedigree here. Beatrice Chepkoech, the still world record holder, isn't here, but most of the other big names are. And these 4 or 5 just starting to move away from the rest of the field. And we've had now has Aziz actually the pacemaker's gone, and Olivia Gut is well off the pace as well. So CHEROTICH then, the youngster, 20 years old, who took bronze in Paris last year, is taking it on here, approaching the 2-kilometre mark. Mayu looking comfortable. Yavi then down in 4th place.
Yeah, I think when Faith first came through, you know, broke through as again another brilliant junior, and it looked as though she kind of had the wherewithal to not always have to do this to lead, you know, that she had a bit of pace as well. We know that Yavi has, you know, you don't win the big races like she does without that. We know that Chemitai has, and so it's interesting, isn't it, that CHEROTICH thinking, right, if I just stay with, I know what the result's going to be, so I'm going to try and just test them. Pace doesn't look good enough, to be honest, though, does it? That's why it's quite a big group there. I mean, it's hard at this time of year. This isn't really putting enough pressure on everybody. It's putting some pressure on, but perhaps not enough.
Yeah, talking about making it hard, Yavi said in particular in a recent interview she's been working especially hard over the winter, putting in some serious training. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the fruits of that extra work are. And here she is starting to make her presence felt for the first time as they come in front of us with 800 to go. Yavi then, for the first time, taking the lead.
Yeah, 4 becomes 6. It looked as though they were going to move away. CHEROTICH just backed off a little bit, and then Yavi sensed that. Constantine had up somewhat behind with Gazayani and Muleta getting up there. So 7 athletes, but Almayu on the shoulder of Yavi covered the move quickly. Chemitai knows as well when Yavi goes to the front, you got to be close.
So 6, and then a little gap to the athlete in 7th place, that is Lomi Muleta. And Yavi now just starting to dictate the tempo here around the crown of the bend with 600 under 600 to go. Yavi then, water jump for the penultimate time. CHEROTICH, Almayu, Chemitai all in there. These 4 starting to move a little bit clearer, and Yavi just starting to wind things up here, single file into the final barrier of the penultimate lap of this steeplechase.
And this is what she's so good at. You just wind it up, and she trusts her technique. It isn't just about sprinting in the steeplechase, it's sprinting at speed at the barriers, stretches out, gets it right in a stride. And you look at Almayu, who's putting a foot on each of the barriers, losing just 2-3 tenths every time.
Yeah, great technician, as is El Bakali in the men's event as well. CHEROTICH looks to have paid for that earlier pace that she was setting, and now Yavi stringing them out, and 5 become 4, become 3 down the back straight. Yavi from CHEROTICH, the youngster Almayu is still in there. Now then, CHEROTICH is chasing and putting pressure on Yavi. Yavi then with just under 200 to go. Still fighting hard. CHEROTICH is being forced to go wide into the water jump for the final time. Almayu is now a distant 3rd. Yavi stumbles a little bit, coming round into the final home straight. 1 barrier to go. She corrects herself. Yavi then, has she got the lead here on CHEROTICH? Needs a clean clearance, she gets it. Now off the final barrier. Get those legs pumping, get the arms going, but here comes CHEROTICH. CHEROTICH coming back, it's CHEROTICH. Brilliant, brilliant final 50 meters from the Kenyan. Almost impudent, taking on the Olympic champion and out sprinting her off the final barrier. 9:05.08, it's a new world lead, and that's a brilliant, brilliant win for Faith CHEROTICH.